Hello, we're live. And firstly, how hot are you today? Because I am absolutely boiling here in my office pod. It's got to go 30 degrees plus here. I think it's not working on Facebook. So, if you're, well, I can't even say if you're listening on Facebook, it's not working. I just don't think it's broadcasting there. Something went wrong as I pressed the button. I don't know, technology, but I don't know if you can like telepathically hear me, come off of Facebook and come onto YouTube, and then you'll see me. But listen, welcome guys. It's going to be a really good evening. I've done a lot of planning for this evening. I asked the members what would they like. Loads and loads of different suggestions, as you can imagine. But there was a couple for composition. And I got some really good questions here actually from people that they submit questions if they can't be here on the evening. And so I've done my best to plan a really good session for you guys, because composition is something that I think people is for me. It's like the top thing. Like if you can't get composition right, the rest of it goes to pot. But it doesn't mean you need the rest, that you don't need the rest of it, but composition is very important. So it was a good suggestion from a couple of people, and yeah, that's what we're going to do. Right, I'm going to read through some names, see the furthest afield people that are out there. In the meantime, we have featured artist and featured albums, because I'm going to see this featured artist on Friday in Hyde Park, and it's going to be wicked. So there you go. Get cracking. See if you can guess the albums and the artist up there. When it's hot, you just got to have a beer, really, because it's so hot. So that's for me to be refreshing. I hope you're joining me with a drink. Right at the top there was someone from New Zealand, and it's 6 a.m. out there. So thank you for joining me. That's Stuart Hampton. There he is. Thanks for joining us, Stuart. Who else have we got here? We've got Cambridge here, Brazil, India, I saw there. Andrew Chris from Dagenham. Get in. That's where I come from. Well, Barking and Dagenham, same thing. We've got someone, Stephen's guessing the albums there. Elton John, A Single Man, which is that one in the middle there. So that's the artist, and I'm going to see him on Friday. Well done. Bristol, we've got someone from Bristol here, Canada, Ipswich, Nashville. Woohoo! Dan Drummond from Nashville. Welcome aboard, mate. We've got Bexhill here, Stuart from Bexhill, Klaus from Germany. Lots and lots of people. And yeah. So thanks for joining me. Again, it astounds me that there's nothing better on the telly. So thank you for watching me. Good. I really do appreciate you spending the time and watching me, and hopefully you're going to learn from it. Right now, firstly, just quickly. There you go. You know what to do. Like and subscribe and share and do all of them things. Please do it right now. Before you do anything else, don't do anything else. Stop. Click like. There we go. That's that one there. And let's crack on with the evening, right? So it's all about composition. We are going to start from the basics, and then we're going to move up, look through rules of composition. Now, I'm sure some of you won't even have a clue what the rules of composition are, and some of you will be very familiar, but it doesn't harm going over these things again. So if you are familiar, trust me, we've got some good pictures to watch. And then I'm going to end the session on some really good pictures that I've taken where I think composition's made it, but there's also other things that you've got to understand. So I've got the raw file plus the edited file, and we're going to look at the basic elements of what makes a decent photograph. Composition is one of that element. Right. What's composition? Let's go over and have a look. I'm going to choose that one instead. That's the one I'm going to choose. Right. So this is composition. Actually, I'm going to do it this way first. Right, watch this. See that? I've just composed this picture differently to that. All right. It's as simple as that. Wherever you position yourself, so this is a central composition, if you like, This one over here is to, I don't know, it's to my left anyway, but that's that one there. And then over here, that's a separate composition, right? Composition is arranging the elements of your photograph within your scene. So it means putting together. It means combining or putting together parts to form a whole. And composition it applies to music, it applies to writing. You know, when you get compositions in books, you know, like the way people compose sections of a story. You've got composition in music, the way people compose music. So you can have the drums starting at the start of a song, and then the vocals come in and the guitar or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Well, if you started that song with the vocals instead of the drums, you've changed the whole composition of that song, and you've changed the feeling of that song. You've either made it or you've broke it, okay? And composition in photography is a very similar thing. It's a very similar idea. It's arranging parts or elements within your scene. Now, an element of your scene can be anything. It can be this red band here on the head. It can obviously be the head itself. It can be the eye. It can be the background. It can be the foreground. It can be this line that's going across that field there. Every single thing within your picture is an element of that picture. And going forwards, that needs to be, whatever's in your picture is going to be there because you wanted it to be there, right? You composed the picture so that that element is in that picture, right? So if you've got, I don't know, like a stray cat coming out of a wheelie bin in the background of someone, right? And that's in your photo, well, then that's your fault because you didn't compose your picture properly. You wasn't looking at the scene. You was looking at the object within the scene. And that there's two real distinctions there between the two things there, right? You look through that camera and you're viewing a scene. You're not viewing a person, you know, or whatever. You're viewing the whole scene, everything which is within that rectangle, right? Cheers. So let's move on. Now, when it comes to learning, as you know my teaching style, we start from the very kind of basics. So I'm not here going to show you Vogue style pictures. I'm just going to show you pictures that anyone can take, anyone can do, just to emphasize what composition is. So here, what we've got is we've got two different pictures of the same person standing in the same place at the same time, for argument's sake, you know, a few seconds apart. But what we've got is two separate compositions. And in essence, what we've got is two separate feelings, okay? And we'll come to that in a minute. And here is another composition of the same person in the same place, the same time. And again, we've got another composition. Now, like I say, I'm not here trying to show you like fantastic pictures, right? This is not about showing, this is about teaching. But again, we've got three different compositions, three different feelings, right? Three different moods. And it's the composition that's done that, okay? So let's just analyze the composition of these pictures. I'm going to put them up on the screen big in a minute, and we're going to have a look. Start typing in, and remember you are like 30 seconds behind me. So when you type in, it's a good 30 seconds before it pops up in front of me, right? Now, I'm going to put some pictures up on this screen. Well, these pictures, I'm going to make them bigger. And we're just going to talk about the different feelings that each one has and which one's kind of better or worst. And yeah, so let's do that. Let's get these pictures up here. Okay. Can we see that? Sorry, I'm just checking everything. Yep, we can see that. Right, here we go. Right, yeah, I'm just checking that everything's good to go here. Right, here we go. So look, don't forget that the person here standing here, this was my friend actually. I just did it for an experiment really, but I told her to stand in one place, done, and it was me that was moving around. Okay, one. There's another picture, another picture, another picture, or should I say composition? Another composition, another one, and another one. All right. Now, Stuart Hampton's put remoteness. I'm assuming it's for that one there, because yeah, and lonely from Barry there, Barry Raspberry, lonely. Yeah, of course it is. Yeah. Now, she's not lonely, right? She's married, and she's got lovely children and stuff like that. But composition has given you that feeling. Look, abandoned there, Mick Sullivan, lonely. That's all that's given. That's it. You take a few steps back, a bit of a wider angle, one little dot of a person in a big scene, lonely, desolate type feeling. Okay. Then we go to this one here. Kind of maybe a sadder feeling, but it's a little bit more intimate, isn't it? Because we're seeing the person's face. Okay. So this one does look quite sad, doesn't it? It makes you think, wonder what's going on with this person, you know. And again, this is not, I'm not trying to, this is not a picture that you put in your portfolio or anything. This is just examples of how moving your camera about, moving your body around can create different feelings. All right. God, it's hot in this room. I can tell you that much. Then we've got that one there. Snap. Done. Right. Now I want you to be honest with yourselves here. Or soulful, someone's put there. That's too soulful for the last one. So I want you to be honest with yourself there, right? If I went to you, let's just say there's going to be some beginners here, right? There's a person, there's a camera, there's a field, go and take a picture. 90% of you would come back with that, right? You'd come back with that. Stand there. Okay, let's get it all nice and central. Let's get it all framed up nicely. Click. There's the picture. Okay. And that is obviously one composition, but we've just looked at two other compositions that, let's just face it, are a bit more interesting, aren't they? Then we've got one here that's like really close up. Maybe it's more intimate. You're right in their face now. They're looking directly at you. You know, you're getting the more intimate feel. I mean, put the words in what you think on the questions there, right? There's that one there, close up. Then we've got that one there. I'm not quite sure what feeling that's got. Maybe it's a bit fun, maybe a bit weird. But there you go. There's another one there. Yeah, different, interesting. We've got there, yeah. William Davidson's. This is the difference between people in the US and the UK thinking about her high school cheerleader time. We don't have that in the UK. Well, not that I know of anyway. Maybe it's a new thing that's coming, but we never had cheerleaders when I was teaching in schools or when I was at school. Then we've got this one here, right? This is probably the worst one out of all of it. Like, this is literally an example of how composition can really ruin a picture, right? You've just gone on the tilt, thought, oh, let's try something new. Doesn't work. And you've got to understand that some compositions just do not work. And then we've got this one here, which is off the floor, looking up. I don't know what you think about that one. But it's another composition. I quite like this one. I think out of all of them, this one or the desolate one would be the ones that I like the best. And again, this is not like portfolio stuff. This is just getting someone, putting them in a field and seeing what different compositions can evoke in different feelings, you know? So, you know what I mean? Right, so that's like the basics of composition there. That is it. The basics of composition is arranging the elements of your picture within that rectangle. That's the basics of it. Okay. Right, yep, I'm just checking we're all running, because there's been a bit of a technical blip going on here, but everything seems to be fine. Tell me in the comments if if anything goes wrong. Like last month, if you saw that one, that was a disaster, but that was my fault actually last month. Anyway, right, let's move on to the next slide here. Right, I'm going to put these two pictures up in a minute. We're going to talk about rules of composition. Rules are made to be broken. We'll come to that a bit later on. But we're going to talk about the rules of composition, and the ones that I think they just work in a lot of different situations. And if you just keep them in your head, you're going to have half a chance, right? But let's put these up bigger on the screen. Now, the question is, and you're going to type it in there, right? What one sits easier in the frame? I don't want what one you prefer, right? That's important. I want you to think about the feeling. What one makes you feel a bit more, and then what one makes you feel, oh, yeah. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? That's what I'm trying to get to here. The kind of feeling it evokes. I'm just going to put them up bigger on the screen for you so you can see them. Okay. Right. So we've got that one there. I'm trying to do loads of things at once. That one there. Oh, not that one. That comes next. That one there. Or that one there. Okay. So the question is, which one out of these sits easier with you? Not the one you prefer, the one that just sits nicely in your eye, in the viewer's eye. That one or that one there. Okay, I'll do it once more. That one or that one there. All right, I'm just going to go back to the slide here. Okay, so what we've got here, Michael, the right side with the lights. Barry, the first one for me, I can't remember what the first one was that I put up. Sorry, mate, hang on. The one with the lights there again, the one with the lights again, the one with the lights sits better, the one with the lamp, the one with the model on the right-hand side of the frame. Yeah, okay, so look, we're all agreed there. And the reason for that is that model is sitting 1/3 of the frame, and there's also a lamp there it kind of puts a balance, like a scout. Imagine scales, puts a balance there. If that light weren't there, it probably wouldn't look as easy on the eye. The one in the middle, and some of you may well have preferred that one in the middle, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's not about, I'm not, which one's better or worse, but the one in the middle is symmetric. Well, not symmetrical. It's like bang in the middle, isn't it? Central. Oof. Okay, and that is another way of composing pictures. But for now, we're talking about the rule of thirds. And the rule of thirds does make the viewer more at ease. It just makes you feel more, it's like it's meant to be there, okay? The reason for that is nature, yeah? Your subconscious knows that nature is random and it sits off center. Nature sits off center, okay? Nature does not order itself dead in the middle. So when that happens, you're not used to seeing it. It's like, whoa, what's that? And that can work in your favor. But if you want something to look natural and sit easier in your eyes, the rule of thirds is a really easy way of doing it. So let's have a sip of this. So landscape photography as well, the rule of thirds often works in landscape photography, obviously for big elements, but the other one is the horizon line. Okay, generally it sits up or it sits down in the frame. A couple of reasons for that. One is it's using the rule of thirds, it's a bit more easy on the eye, and the other one is you can get in whatever is more interesting, the floor, the ground, or the sky. Okay, so that is the rule of thirds. It's a very, very simple thing. You just put the main object in 1/3 of the frame. Now, it won't make every shot. All it's for is a feeling, and this is the key. I've got some questions here. I'm going to read it out actually now. There's one from Tony Cox. I don't think he's in tonight. That's why he sent this in. He's a member. And basically he's saying he's been a member for years. He gets blown away by the fantastic work that gets submitted on the group. However, he seems to struggle to recognize what makes a good composition, right? He's used the rule of thirds, leading lines, and all the tips and blah, blah, blah. He says, He's got all the enthusiasm, load of kit. It's just the talent that I seem to lack. He's put there, right? Can you advise me, or should I sell my camera and take up stamp collecting instead? He says there. Now, I think that when people have been doing it for a long time and they haven't grasped it, I think you're just looking at too many different. There's loads of YouTube videos, for instance, that go on about it, and sometimes it's just about how you feel about an image, and it's not just about leading lines. It's not just about rule of thirds. It's about lighting, time of day, and what you're actually photographing, the scene. There's loads of different things, and we'll come to that a bit later on. But so part of me sort of wants to answer that and say, stop looking at loads of different people's YouTube videos that say the 10 best composition. Wasn't the best ones are when they say you're missing out or something like that, or you're missing out if you're not doing these 7 composition techniques or whatever, right? You've got to stop watching them, because at the end of the day, that's what they want to do. You got to do what you want to do, and that's the important thing, I think. Right, so that's the rule of thirds. This is the rule of evens. I like this one. It's hard to get, but it works really well, particularly for portraiture if you want it to stand out, right? So again, it comes back to nature not organizing things in twos. They're like random, aren't they? You've got a load of plants, trees that just grow in a forest. They don't grow in twos. So when you see something like this, when you see 2 things, in this case, obviously people, they're staring, it stops you in your tracks and it makes you stare back. All right. If you're into street photography, get into this technique, because I'm telling you, it works really, really well. Then, of course, you've got the rule of odds. Let's go back to nature again. When you've got 3, 5, 7, it just works a lot better for that easiness, like playfulness, kids playing, for instance. It also draws your eye to the center of object or person. So when I flick this picture up, who did you look at first? I can bet 99% of you looked at the young boy in the center there. Yeah. So that's the rule of odds and evens. I like evens a lot. Triangles, right? So triangles are the strongest shape in construction and in nature. Your brain knows that. I don't know why, but it's in there. Okay. So when you see a triangle, you associate it with strength or hierarchy or whatever. And you can use that in pictures, particularly portraits. If you want someone to look nice and strong, stand up straight, you just organize them so that they sit in a triangular fashion. Looking down slightly helps as well for that strength type look, and you get a strong looking picture. It's as simple as that. Okay, which one of the, again, type it in, which one of these pictures looks better? Simple question with simple answers. Okay. Type it in there, and I'll read the next one out. Yeah, actually, I'll have a sip first. I will have a sip. I must say, losing the Facebook viewers has not done much to the view count. We've still got quite a lot of people watching, so hopefully people got the message and came over from Facebook to YouTube. Yeah, we've got a few. I'll tell you what. I'll come back to that in a second. Right. The one on the right, 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 the one on the right. Yeah. Okay, good. Here we go. Now that one's simple, but this is such an easy mistake that you see beginners make all the time. She is looking in that direction. So you have the space there. So she's looking into the space. Over here, it's very claustrophobic. It's like, all right, what's going on? Where's it going? Plus, this is sort of, it's irrelevant. It doesn't matter, does it? Whereas here, it's composed a lot better. And all that is understanding your framing. your composition. That's all it is. And I see it all the time. Okay. Let's go to the next picture here. Moving objects, exactly the same technique. Put the space in front of the object. So this is obviously a mountain bike doing a jump, and the space is in front of the mountain bike, not behind. Okay. That's so that you're giving that object, could be a car, plane, bird, whatever, you're giving that object space to move into. And these are simple compositional rules that you just keep in your head all the time. Frame within a frame. Okay. I think this is a really, really good one, particularly if you can't find anything. You know, you're at a location and you're just thinking, oh, this is all getting a bit boring. I don't know what to do. Look through some trees, look through a window, look through a fence, and you will just enhance that picture tenfold. You know, you'll be surprised what frame within a frame can do. I mean, this is actually, I'm going to come to this a bit later. I'll tell you where this is a bit later on. But obviously, we've got an archway here. We've got another frame in it, and then the model here is leaning up against that that post. Easy, isn't it? You know, it just is. When you know that compositional technique and you see this in front of you, it's a no-brainer. Get the person, get them to lean up against there, inside the frame, include the frame. You know, there you go. Yeah, good. Let's go to the next one here. This is very simple. You can shoot through a coat hood. Not in this heat, for Christ's sake, it's too hot today. But you know, when your hoodies, put the hoodie up, frame within a frame, especially if it's got a bit of like you know, like what's it called, like a Parker coat with the fur. This is like a feather. Oh, I don't know, I'm not in a fashion. Feather things that go on the arm, and you just like that, look through there, bang, or look through there like that, frame within a frame. Easy. Okay. Symmetry. This is one I love. If you follow my personal Instagram at Marc Newton, I mean, the amount of symmetrical pictures that I've got in there, I just seem to love it. I love it because it gives a clean, ordered look, right? And that's what I like. I like things to look nice and ordered and clean and crisp, and symmetry does that. And it's actually not that hard to find and to do. You just move your camera, you move your body, and you can turn this is just underneath a bridge up London. You can turn it into that type of picture, which I think is quite nice, you know. Leading lines, another really easy technique. Now, like I said, there's loads of compositional techniques, loads. And the ones I am teaching you now are the ones that I think everyone should just log into their brain, so that when they're out and they can't find, you know, decent things to photograph, you know, like, you know what it's like. You go out for a day and nothing happens, right? I'm going to show you a perfect example of that in a minute. And then you just start, you know, your brain kicks in. Okay, let's look for symmetry. Let's look for some leading lines. Let's look for things that can help me with my composition. And here we've got leading lines here with a log, fallen log into that's Loch Lomond actually, going off into there, and we've mixed it with long exposures. And here we're just in like an industrial place. That's all it was, just in Braintree in Essex, just a crap area. But we've got lines here like that. And again, I'm going to come to this picture and how it works a bit later on. But look, there you go, leading lines. It's a very easy technique. Right. If you're struggling with composition, you don't understand it, you've got what I've told you in this video, right? Take a screenshot of this right now with these notes on. Go out with anyone or anything, right? And just play with the composition of that one thing and just see what you can do. Just see how the mood changes in between each picture. It's not about creating a portfolio style image, right? It's about changing the mood and the look of an image just by the positioning of that subject. Okay, that's all you're doing at this moment in time. Okay, now I'm so hot in here, guys. I've just got to do this first because I've got a fan behind me, but if I put it on, it just makes a load of noise, right? Right, so far I've just showed you there. Yeah, we're doing good for time. Now I'm going to show you some pictures, but you know, you can put some questions in if you want, and we'll try and answer them as we go. So the next thing I wanted to look at was these questions here, that well, the one that I just said about with Tony, and it's people that are saying, I'm using leading lines, right? I'm using leading lines. I'm using rule of thirds. You know, I'm using symmetry, but nothing's coming out. It's still coming out crap and this, that, and the other, right? So let's have a look at actually what else you need with composition, okay? Composition is only a part of it. Yeah, I've literally got another quick Sonia Dunton here from Manchester, another member. It's just a repeat of what Tony says, you know. She uses the rule of thirds, she uses leading lines, and you know, she's struggling. Right, let's go. Give me a minute here. So I've got this. Yeah. So we need to go to this folder here, which is that one there. Yeah, which is that one there. And I need to put up this picture here again. Yeah, so you know, you looked at that picture a minute ago, right? Let's look at the raw file. Okay, now that turned into that. Now, some of you are looking at that, and actually be honest now and put it in there because this is important. Some of you are looking at that going, that's the skill of the editing rather than the skill of the picture taking, right? Put it in there. I won't have a go at you if that's what you think. Now, I'm going to explain how it's the skill of the picture taking. The editing is on top, okay? Because it's not. Do you know what? Actually, I'm going to go to this one here. It's the same thing. It's like a different picture, but I want to show you something. Anyway, so that's the raw file, and that's the edited file. Okay. Now, before you're doing a shoot, you are not just considering composition, right? I've done it again. Oh, okay. This is what I did last week. Do you know what, right? I watch other people's live Q&A. They've got someone with them pressing buttons. That's what I need. I need someone with me who's going to press me buttons. Okay? Sorry, guys. Oh, Christ almighty. We're going to do a live Q&A outtakes video, I think. Put it on the story. Right. Let's start again, shall we? So we looked at this picture. You know that picture, the frame within a frame picture. This is the raw file. And this is the edited file, okay? And like I said, now you can actually see the picture, right? Someone's put two in a row. Yeah, oh, good bloody hell. Right, now you can see the picture. The question is that there's going to be people, and it's absolutely fine. There's going to be people that are thinking, oh, well, I'm never going to get pictures like because you know, that's the skill of the editing, right? You have to learn editing to be able to do good pictures, right? And it's not, right? Let's go to these two here. There's the raw file. Sorry. There's the edited file, and there's the raw file, right? When you go on a shoot, composition part is embedded in your brain already. Frame within a frame, you know, leading lines and all that kind of stuff, right? That's already in there. The other skillful stuff is thinking about the time of day that you're going, the lighting, the color, the scene, and everything like that, okay? So this is a place called St Dunstan's in the east in London, which used to be a great place to go and take photos until Instagram was invented, and now you've got about 10 million people there every 1 second, right? But it's just an absolute nightmare now, but it is lovely to go and see. Anyway, I know the place, I know the area. It's in London, it's in the east, central East London. And it's moldy and it's green and it's like, well, you can see the concrete type color, right? And it's got foliage, green foliage growing through it and everything like that. So I know that before I arrive, before I go there. So I tell Laura, because I want to go for a harmonious color scheme, right? So I tell Laura's the model there. I say, Laura, I want you to wear green, blues, and anything within that range on the color wheel. So anything between green, blues, greens, yellows, that kind of color, right? And browns, as a matter of fact. You've got some browns down the bottom here. So she goes, okay, no worries, I'll just come with this and that. So she turns up like this. So already I've got two things going for me already. I've got the location that I want to shoot at, which is a nice place, and I've got the color code, if you like, or the color harmony. That's already done. The next thing is lighting. It was a shit day. Sorry, can we avoid that? Right. It was a cloudy day, and there's nothing you can do about that at times. You know, you've planned the shoot, you've got to go, you've got to get it done. But you can take reflectors and this, that, and the other. So I just took a silver reflector. I didn't bother with any flashes or anything like that. A silver reflector, because I know that she's got these dark, real dark eyes, and I wanted to put a sparkle in them. I wonder if I can zoom in. There you go. You can see it there. Can you see that little catch light? And it's going a bit further so you can see it. There you go. Obviously, it's blurry on your screen because I'm zooming right in. But you see that there? They're the details that you need to think about, because it's that sparkle, and because she's looking straight at you, that little sparkle stands out, and that's being done by a reflector, which is over here like that. Okay. And then you go into Lightroom or Photoshop or whatever, and you grade it. Okay, it's as simple as that. You do some color grading. Now, raw files look like that because they're raw. Every time a raw file comes out of your camera, it's going to look like that. It's going to look flat, boring, crap, because it's a raw file. It's like having a negative. You had to go into the darkroom. You had to print that properly, you know, using correct chemicals, the paper that you wanted. You had to choose the film correctly first, and all of them things would turn into that. Okay, so the composition is helping, and it does make it, I suppose, but it's helping all them other elements within that picture. Okay, so no one did. I just reflect what you like. No one put in there about the editing. I know you think it though. Good photos need foundation. No amount of editing will fix a poorly composed image. That's a good point there. There we go. Let's put it on the screen. There you go. That is a very good point there, actually. Right, now let's go and have a look at a couple more just like that. But this time I won't waffle on as much. I'm going to go into the leading lines one that we looked at earlier, because it's a very similar scenario. Okay. You know what? I've actually sussed it. From now on, I'm not even going to go to full screen, because I'm going to just forget, aren't I? Right. So I think if I just leave it like that, then I can never forget. It's going to be there forever. Right. This is the raw file. Ready? Boink. This is the edited file. Think. Okay, the composition's there in this file, the lighting is there in this file. It was slightly underexposed, my fault, but when you're dealing with raw files, if it's half a stop, I reckon this is about half a stop underexposed. That is nothing in a raw file, right? No matter what camera you're using. But again, we've got the reflector over there in the eye, giving a little sparkle there. I've asked, this is Rosie, I've asked Rosie to wear blues this time. I wanted blues and whites because she's got blonde hair and she's got blue eyes, and I just thought, let's go for that color scheme. And then we're walking around. This was literally just around our office, sort of crap area, and we're walking around looking for things. And there you go. We find this wall, which is on the side of a factory. It's like a bluey grey color. Bang! You're all mixed in, aren't you? You've got your blues, you've got your leading lines. We've got a reflector just shining in the side of the face. You go into Lightroom, you bring it up, you color grade it, wallop. There we go. We've got a decent picture. You know what I mean? So composition is there, but all the other elements are also there. Okay. Right, yeah, no one's commenting on it. We've still got loads of people watching, but no one seems to be commenting. I hope you can actually hear me, to be honest. Right, there's oh yeah, and I'm going to go on to another one now, which has got less editing, if you like, but still, where is it? Symmetry, and it's this one here. So this picture was when the stars aligned for me. This is in a place called Dovercourt, and I always wanted to go and photograph this picture, but you normally see it with. I'll answer that in a minute. Michael. I'm going to come to that. Remind me if I don't. So, but it's always quite nice and colourful. Sunsets. This scene, Dovercourt in Essex, right? When we got there, the clouds just came over, and it was as grey and boring as anything, right? But I thought, wicked, because I was going for this minimalist symmetry look, and I thought this is really going to work because the water's actually not blue, it's crap muddy color. Let's go over to that's the original file. You can see there's not much difference. Look at that, there's not much difference at all in them, right? Look, that's the original raw file. That's what it actually looked like. And I was just really pleased. A lot of people would have got there and gone, oh no, the clouds are over and this, that, and the other. But I saw it. I saw what was going to happen. It was just going to look like, well, it would look like it had been totally photoshopped, but it hasn't. That's the actual picture. So compositions made that, and then the editing has done its bit at the end. All right. And then we're going to start taking some questions in a minute, actually. But I want to show you some pictures, right, where I think, like, I've proper nailed it, right? You know what I mean? You know, they don't happen for me very often, to be honest with you, where I think, just, you know, got it. Okay. But firstly, I'm going to go to a picture that I put on my Instagram. I took this the other day, right? I don't think this is a great picture at all. I've got to be honest. That was the scene. That's what was going on. But I edited it to that. It's a HDR. I brought the sun out a little with the HDR. And the point I'm trying to make here is this was one of them situations where your composition tools kicked in. And what I mean by that is you're in your head. You're sitting there and I'm telling you, there was just nothing happening. And I don't know what was going on. You know what it's like. I tell you, there was too many people around, really, and that was getting on my nerves and that. And anyway, whatever. But I thought, right, come on, there's got to be something around. And I was with my friend Aaron, actually, and we was both having a go. And it's when you're working with people, it helps a lot, as a matter of fact, because you both bounce off each other, and he's looking down the bridge and I'm looking the other side, and then it is. And and then we ended up just, here we go. Symmetry done. Let's get this down. Let's go down. We've got some shadows. Let's go for this symmetry effect. The sun, you wait for the sun to get there, which gives it a little bit of a burst as well. And then you get that. So the point I'm trying to make is this is when your composition toolkit, which is held in your head, kicks in. Yeah. Need a subject, I would say. Yeah. Do you know what? This is Barry. Look. Needs a subject, I would say. Yeah, I actually someone did actually walk past, and I took a picture when they're walking, and it didn't look that good. No, I didn't like it anyway. So yeah, anyway, right. So that's that. Right, now let's get to the good stuff, shall we? A few pictures that I've taken lately where I think composition has just done me a world of good. Okay, this was on holiday in Salisbury. I showed it a few months ago, actually, already. Salisbury Cathedral, and that's the original raw file, right? Because I am literally one-handed, daughter on the other hand, bag of crap. I don't even know what's in the bag, right? And I'm on a tilt, but all I was seeing, I just saw this scene, I saw this reflection, and I'm just looking through the thing. I'm trying to get down and up and take a shot, and I took a shot, right? And then I knew, like, so in camera that's not composed correctly, but it's an easy fix, isn't it? You just tilt it. tilt and crop, black and white, bang, right, done. That's where composition really helps you out. I'm gonna go to a couple more. Just give me a minute here. Give me a minute here. Right. Then I want to show you some things where the scene just does it. So there is an argument, and it's a true argument, that if you're in a beautiful scene and you're armed with these compositional techniques, this is obviously symmetry, you can't really go wrong. I have seen people go wrong in these places, and that's because they're not thinking about the whole scene. But generally, if you've got a decent scene and you arm yourself with the compositions here, like that person there, that's Scowl, that is. And actually, I can't take credit for this. This was Tom Archer from our landscape course. He took this picture and I was standing next to him and just snapped it at the same time. But it just shows the scene is what's making this shot. This one element of your picture, and if the scene is good and you've got good composition, you're in. Then, right, these are pictures that I think I've absolutely nailed it, right? This was from a boot sale project, and at first glance you look at that and you think to yourself, well, you've just snapped that. You know, it just looks like a snap. But it was composed, and it was composed properly. I got lucky on a couple of things, but I bent down. I'm showing what happens at a boot sale, the people there, what people sell and everything like this. So I wanted to get these carpets in the foreground. So I'm low to the ground, okay? This guy was actually already in the car. So I just asked him to look at me. And I saw 1, 2, 3. I saw that instantly. I turn around, bend down, get this in the foreground. The dog looks at me right at that moment. That's the luck part, right? The luck part was that. I thought it was going to bite my head off, but it looked at me right at that particular point in time. And that, I think, is when the stars align and when composition really works for you, in my opinion. And this is, if I put this on Instagram, I'll get about 10 likes. But I know it's a good picture. I just know it is, right? This one here, one of the best pictures I've ever taken in my life, in my opinion. And the reason for it is I composed it all properly, okay? I've got the bridge coming from the top left-hand corner, leading into St. Paul's. The tide's out, so we've got these lovely rocks that are wet and sort of shiny. There's this bit of metal that was just poking out, right? And the reason I got it in the shot is because it reminded me of a really famous Henri Cartier-Bresson picture. It's a really famous one. There's this guy jumping over like a hoop in around the back of Le Gare station, I think, in Paris. Anyway, I took the picture, and I knew it was, when I took it, I knew it was a good picture. When I got home and I really looked at it, look at that at the top there, right? That's a plane. This is a long exposure, by the way. That's a plane that's circling above London at the exact time when I took this picture, right? And it just perfectly mirrors that down there. So that was just, I'm just like, oh, not only have I got the Cartier-Bresson analogy there, which I liked, I've got it balanced out in the sky as well. It was just unbelievable. Now, that's the raw file. And again, I've got to tell you, I knew this was the raw file. I saw it from the back of the camera, so I knew what I'd got. But you know, with night photography, that you need to pull it all out. You need to pull it all out back in post, you know. So that's that one there. I'm gonna have to be quick now because here we go. Southend project. I was doing documentary projects up there. I'm seeing all of these birds flying around this young girl, feeding them with the bread. So instead of just taking the picture, as you could do, you could stand up and take the picture. You could zoom in, wide angle, whatever. There's a set of steps that go up and over the wall at Southend. Go up, down. I've got lower, included that into my picture. And she's just off center, which is great. The birds are all flying in the sky, and I just thought, you know, it's just where composition has really helped you out. Does it follow any rules? I don't think it for this one don't really follow any rules. It's just your brain working, and that's what I'm trying to tell you. It was Tony and Sonia asking me these questions. Your brain is the best compositional tool. If you think it looks good, it looks good. I suppose you've got a little bit of symmetry there with the steps and that, but there you go. That's that one. And then this one, people will look at that and they won't give a. I know people will look at that and think that's boring. You know, it's just balanced so well, and it's just one of them pictures that I took and thought I've nailed it. Right, again, it's the Southend-on-Sea project, so we've got the sea and it's grey and everything like that, but it's look all the lines, it's just all the lines that are balancing it out. Then you've got the lines of the zebra crossing going across the road here all the way like that, and then one-way sign pointing that way, someone going that way, looking on his phone. And I just think it captured that moment in time at Southend-on-Sea. And it's the balance, you know, it's just the balance of the scene. And people, I know people probably think it's crap, but I know it's not. I know that it's not easy to get pictures like that. You know, it looks like it is, but I'm telling you now, it is not. And I think, oh yeah, I've got to show you this one. I know we're running out of time a bit, and I am going to take some questions from you guys. Don't worry. I'm going to take some questions. I know I've been waffling on, but look at this one. Getting the Southend-on-Sea project. You would think, crap picture. You've cut the geezer's head off, right? I weren't going for the guy. I was going for these dogs. It's a dog walking up and down and on the beach. And I just wanted to capture it. I just wanted to capture that. And just, I wonder if I could zoom in. So I've got this dog staring straight at me, and this dog putting some kind of face there, staring at me again. And then that one there as well, doing the same thing. And compositionally, I don't know what you would put it under. I'm not really sure. But it just works. It's telling the story that I wanted to tell with these pictures of Southend-on-Sea. Oh, and then we'll just finish on this one. This was a street portrait that I took, and this was composed. This was where I got the guy to sit directly on this line here, and then I composed it linear. So we've got this block of, that's a metal shutter. Then we've got this fence thing in the background. Then the person, this line of the wood, what he's sitting on, and then the stones or the beach underneath, okay? That's when you find a subject, use composition, and it all works. Right, let's take some questions, right? I hope that that's helped you out. There was one question here that I thought was good, and I don't know where it is, about a colour wheel. Here we go. Do you recommend to include a colour wheel in the kit? Yeah, well, you have to have a knowledge of colour. We do teach it in the beginner's course. It's a knowledge of the colour wheel. You should certainly have it on your wall when you're editing, because it will help you. You will know what colors are opposite, what colors are harmonious. I mean, there's a really good tip, right? There's two color schemes that you just cannot go wrong with, right? Opposites, they're called complementary colors. So orange and blue, a sunset, right? Orange and blue. You can't go wrong with them. They're complementary colors, opposite on the color wheel. Then you've got harmonious colors, and they are colors that are close to each other on the color wheel. So green and yellows, for instance, you know, they're close to each other on the color wheel, so they will work well together. Okay, that's that one. Well done. Let's go to another one. Okay, shall I big myself up there? Thanks, William. The more than welcome. This is what I love doing. I love doing this. I don't get to just do classes that much anymore because I'm doing all the online stuff, obviously. So this gives me that opportunity to get that a little bit. So it's my pleasure. Don't you worry at all. What's this one here? In Lightroom, using the crop tool, would you use the spiral or stay within the thirds of the rule? It depends on the picture, Dennis. And I think that this is where people get stuck. They think too much about I need to stick to. That's the Fibonacci, isn't it? Spirals, think what you're talking about. Or should I use the rule of thirds? Or should I use leading lights? Or should I use this? When you're in that situation, if there's nothing obvious that's going to enhance your picture, and that's the key to this, is using leading lines, symmetry, going to enhance the feeling of that picture. If it's not, then do what you want, right? You know, think about it and think of how it looks to you. There is no wrong or right. And that's a really important thing, I think, to take from this session. And then we've got one here from Stuart Hampton. Put some questions in, guys, because I think that we're sort of going to go over time in a minute. And so I'm going to answer one more if it comes through. So let's answer this one first. Should leading lines always begin at the corners of images? This is a really good question. Or should they lead to a point of interest? Okay. It's what have we got here? They don't have to. So that's symmetry, but they don't have to come from a corner. As you can see in there, they're not coming from a corner. I've done it again. As you can see from there, they're not coming from a corner there. Hang on. I've got to find one now. Here we go. Yeah, so I always recommend them coming in from a corner. But this is my personal style. If you look at a lot of my work when I'm using leading lines, they will come in from a corner. It makes it dynamic, okay? Dynamism is the word. You know, like straight through your scene. It like makes it stand out in front of your face. So, you know, I always try it, see if it works, and then if it don't, try something else. You know what I mean? And where's, I think that's, have I got any more here? Yeah, so this one here, it doesn't come from any corners. It literally just leading into the frame. Oh, and the other question, the other part of that question was, should it point to a point of interest? Yeah, absolutely. Well, you just saw that there. Look, that one's obviously going to a point of interest, and that one's going to a point of interest. If it doesn't go to a point of interest, then the leading lines actually makes no sense. Where is it leading? Do you know what I mean? You know, that's the whole point. Leading lines lead you somewhere. They lead your eye through the frame to something. Okay. Okay, let's have a look at this one. This is the last question, guys, but this is a good one to finish on by Mick Sullivan here. Do you think having full frame camera helps with composition more than a crop sensor, since the sensor is bigger so you can get more of the scene into it? No. Okay, Mick, I think what you've got a little bit confused there, because the sensor's bigger, but you also get lenses that go wider. So it's not about the sensor that gets more of the scene in. It's not the sensor that gets more of the scene in. It's your lens. Okay, so the simple answer to that is no. Okay. Yep, that's that. I think it's been a wonderful session. It's been well attended again. I thank you all for joining me. Absolutely sweating in here. I only mucked up once. Result, right? Compared to last week, that's a result. And yeah, I'll see you all on the group. Obviously, don't forget to keep submitting your assignment entries and your lovely pictures. You don't have to just submit your assignments, you know, you can submit composition pictures, etc. on the groups. And I'll see you in the next Q&A or on the group or wherever. All right, cheers, guys. Don't forget to like again, please do that before you go anywhere. Do that. Comment as well. Give us a comment. And yeah, it's been great. Cheers.